Good morning, everybody. We're going to call this board meeting to order. We'll turn it over to Patty. Okay, I want to welcome the board and our attorney and also our guests. Did everyone have a chance to look through the minutes that were emailed? And did you find any corrections needed to be made, or are you good with the minutes? We just need a motion.
Motion to accept. Second.
Okay, I'll get you to sign them.
That's our.
And they will be posted this afternoon online. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. And as far as additions to the agenda, we do have two speakers today, Vince Israel and Dennis Evans. And also we're going to talk about under new business about the funeral home notice. Excuse me. We had no correspondence. Everyone should have in their packet the budget report, and that's from July 1st to September 8th of this year. So everyone just wants to review it. If you have any questions. Any questions or comments?
No.
And then a motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
The motion approved unanimously. Okay, under old business, Mr. Adair had called me about a week and a half ago to inquire about whether voter ID has been introduced or passed by the General Assembly. Not currently. And SBE issued a press release in March, and I went on the website and printed that out for you. There's been no updates at this time. So that's just kind of waiting on an answer for that.
So what? How do we get voter ID?
Well, the General Assembly has to,
Okay.
someone has to introduce and then it be approved. But they go in session in January, I believe. So it may be something that they could do in time for the primary. It's just up to the General Assembly. Okay, the next item is a list of 2026 board meeting dates for approval. And once they're approved, I'll post them also on the website. And of course, there'll be additional board meetings if needed to be scheduled, because 2026 is an election year. So I'm sure we'll have some items. Regarding the poll consolidation update, we had talked about pulling the Snow Hill voters out of District 1 and having them vote at Snow Hill Middle School, but they would vote the District 1 ballot there. And the same thing for Newark, pulling the Newark people out of the District 1, 2, and having them vote at Newark because it's closer. A lot of them during the last election went to the wrong polling place, which really didn't affect, well, it affected the Board of Education race, but in the coming gubernatorial, if they were to do that, they wouldn't be able to vote for the proper commissioner. Their vote for commissioner would not count at all. So the board voted to consolidate that, and we're waiting until we submit our election plan at the end of October. and SBE has to approve it, and then we can go ahead and begin re-precincting those voters. And I do have a list of precinct voter count report and the polling place report, just as an update for your records.
Can you please back up for a minute?
Yes.
There's supposed to be a motion for the approval of the board minute dates. Did that need to be approved or anything? For the
Oh,
dates for the
yes.
upcoming, did we do that?
Oh, no, not the meeting dates.
Not the
No,
meeting
that's
dates,
just
okay.
it's a soft, I'm sure there'll be changes as it. Okay, candidate filings as of September 8th. We had two new candidates, Cheryl Jacobs for Judge of Orphans Court and Terry Westcott for Register of Wills. And the list of statewide and local candidates can be viewed at elections.maryland.gov. All right. Next item is our early voting center. The Roland E. Powell Convention Center has denied our request to use their facility for the primary early voting dates and also for primary election day in June. The Maryland Municipal League has the entire building during the dates of early voting, and the Maryland State Firefighters Association has the entire building on election day. So we're scrambling to try to find a place to have the early voting and the primary election. Tron and I and Teresa have got a list of places we're going to start calling to see if they'd be available. And I'm sure there's going to be a cost for early voting. You know, the convention center never charged us, but I'm sure if we go to a private building, there's going to be quite a considerable charge to run it for 8 days.
Is the library in Berlin, is that not big enough? Upstairs.
We did look into that before, the new library, remember?
The new library,
In Berlin?
Yeah, we
I
did.
didn't
go
know there
there.
was Is there an
second floor.
upstairs?
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I'm
Elevator
sorry. Yeah, well, I'm thinking Ocean Pines.
yeah,
Yes.
we went and looked at that.
We
remember?
did look at that.
That's kind of limited.
Yeah, it's,
If parking, it might be an issue, but.
Yeah.
yeah. And we do have a few, I don't know if you want to know what we thought about, Berlin Fire Department. They have a big sign there. There's a new building. It looks like a barn on Route 50. I don't know if you've seen it, like a red barn fire department.
Yeah, the cemetery.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have a, like a sign outside that said they have a conference room that's available for events. So we thought about that. We have to go see how big it is. The Ocean Pines Community Center, the Ocean Pines Library meeting room. We even thought maybe the Gold Coast Mall. I mean, the parking lots there, I don't know how available they would be. Senator Carrozza mentioned the safety complex in Ocean City. I've never been there. I don't know if you've been there, Jeff.
I have, but as far as the availability and parking, I wouldn't know. But
Is that next to the convention
it's
center?
right next to 65th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up-
Because
it's up.
I'm worried that if the parking lot at the convention center is full, where are the people
Oh, yeah.
going to park for that? But we are going to start calling around and visiting and seeing what we can
And
find.
we don't have it even for the primary election day.
No.
What's
So
that, the
if-
convention center?
So if we get early voting outside of Ocean City, we still got to find a place to have the election at another place in Ocean City.
Yes. And I know there's a lot of hotels that have large conference rooms like Princess Royale and Clarion. But it's June 23rd. How busy are they going to be?
Yeah.
I know we
They
had
really
talked previously, do we have to have the same location for both the primary and the general? I know you
It
want
would be more convenient because people might show up at the wrong place, and then decide not to vote.
And the
It would-
cost, because we'll have to send new voter cards again.
That's true.
For the general, to tell them where to go for the general if we don't use the same one for the primary. So we have the cost of that.
And you already see the writing on the wall. There's gonna be complaints.
Patty,
You already
we
see it.
we gave the convention center our dates when we left.
Yes.
So
2
they
years
had,
in advance.
they had plenty of knowledge.
Yeah. It's very disappointing and
Money
disheartening.
I feel like.
Money talks.
Money,
Money talks.
Yeah, I understand that, but
When you give somebody that kind of notice,
Right.
you would think.
do we have a hammer? Seriously. Have we been to the mayor?
Went to the mayor, I went to Senator Carozza, I went to our delegates, Hartman and Otto, and
And
the mayor, and they're just saying it's booked. The parking lot's gonna be full, well, the entire facility is booked.
so be it.
But they did say for the general, we could use it for early voting and for general election day. They like us to use it for general election day because the town election's the same
Same
day
day.
and they're right next door.
So the general election's taken care of.
If we want to continue during early voting,
Or
At
unless we
Ocean
find a
City.
place that we want to stay at
right?
and not have to switch it back and forth.
That's good.
That's, something we'll have to decide too.
Right. And the schools would be ideal. They're closed, well, they closed the 18th, I believe, June 18th, unless there's snow days. But in November, they're going to be open. So
Right.
that's, that's,
So I was asking about the two different locations.
Yeah. we did it one year. I can't remember why because it was in the summer again. It was in July and we used Worcester Prep,
Right.
just because we thought traffic and everything in Ocean City.
We had discussed that.
They're off the table, Mr. Pratt?
Well, that's up to you guys. I mean, we can,
We had discussed that either at the last meeting or.
we did.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes voters, when you send them new voter cards and the specimen ballot, they just think, well, I went here for the primary, so that's where I go for the general.
Yep.
And then they might go to the wrong. It would be nice to have the same spot.
Yeah.
But it's doable to have two separate, but it's just,
So just to,
Confusion.
make me understand, the general in November 2026 would be okay at the Citizen. Both early and the day of.
yes.
Okay.
Because they want us there.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
part, Yeah. But if we had to split it and you had to go to
If we have
Worcester
to.
Prep, you asked for the primary. They would be out of school and you wouldn't have to worry about snow days with Berlin, with the Worcester County because the prep is gonna be out of school when they're out of school.
But we still have to find a polling place in Ocean City for the
For
primary.
the primary.
Because we can't do it at the school,
I thought we had the convention set.
not for the
Oh,
primary.
okay.
So that's the general and early voting then for the citizen.
Well, if we choose to go that way, if we choose to go that way.
Does Ocean City have a primary?
No.
Yeah, I
It would be nice if
Yeah,
they
I
did
think
because
so.
then they'd
Well,
let
At
us use it.
least have us there for election day,
So I guess I was confused, Teresa, when you said we have to have it in Ocean City.
For election day.
election
I
day.
got that.
Early voting has to be within 10 miles of the highest registration.
Okay,
So we can go into Berlin.
Yeah.
For early voting.
okay.
Do you want me to add Worcester Prep to possibilities, to the possibility?
I would think as late as it's getting, we would-
Probably exhaust all avenues that they have.
I know when we had it there before, they were very accommodating. They really were very helpful.
I'm being a smart ass. My daughter's ahead of school at Worcester Prep. So we have a sort of an in.
We can look into that. Would you prefer to split between the primary and general, or would you prefer us to find?
It's almost, in my opinion, I would think it would be nice if it's all at one, primary and the general. It would make life so much easier for.
And you said that you are looking at the coast, at the outlets, because there are some vacant buildings down there that maybe
There are.
they could for both. For everything,
Mhm.
and the park and that huge parking.
Yeah.
down there.
I know it's a can of worms, but the two locations, it's north and south, is that?
For
is that-
early voting? you mean?
Yeah, is that, I don't know what the requirements are.
Well, with our registration, we have to have one. We could have two, but we have to have commissioners' approval because it affects our budget. It's really
Well, I
expensive.
understand that part.
Yeah. That we had presented it in prior budgets and it's been turned down just because of the cost. We have to buy additional machines and poll books. It's astronomical.
That, fire department there, that on the highway, that's not in Ocean City.
No,
That's a
That's
shame.
Berlin. Yeah, no.
It's Berlin.
Yeah,
That facility's really not that large unless they
Oh.
were to remove the apparatus and use the engine bay.
I just saw the sign and I haven't called them yet.
Smaller than this one, much smaller,
Oh,
from what I remember.
Okay.
so what are,
Well, there's the Berlin Fire Department in Berlin, what used to be the old library years ago.
Well, that building is even smaller.
it's small
Yeah,
too.
the-
we
That's
just looked at that.
Yeah, they call it the annex building,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we
it's the
went and
meeting
looked at
area in there,
that.
it's really small. You
It
can go
is.
look at it, Patty.
It is.
We tried to go in, I think,
Yeah.
in, firemen.
The Berlin,
It's very-
That
the
was there,
Berlin
didn't it?
second floor up their main hall, if they do have an elevator, but the stairs are really hard, higher than normal. With the space between the landings, but their second floor would be sufficient enough, I believe. Because it's all
We
open.
did that also.
Yeah.
But then remember how small Gold Creek was when we used to do it
know, I
there.
know.
So what options do we have in Ocean City to look for early voting or election day? Because we gotta think about election day.
I would say maybe one of the malls, there's White Marlin, there's Gold Coast, or one of the hotels that host conferences,
And what was that other facility you said?
the safety complex.
Yeah, where's that at?
That's the
65th
little
Street.
building, yeah.
It's public safety. building.
Okay, they can't hear back there, just that. Let me turn the air off. No, can you turn the air off, please? Thank you.
Are we gonna go general election in Ocean City, period?
I guess it depends on what we find for
early
the
vote?
primary, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
if it works for us.
Patty, the Shell Volunteer Fire Company banquet room it's not large, but it's a lot larger than either one of these other facilities you can talk about, with the exception of Berlin second floor. Shall be on ground level, you don't have to worry about, handicap access, you just walk right in.
Would that be in our 10-mile radius?
I have to look and see.
But
Thinking it would be, I'm thinking, but,
And even Bishop Rose Hall is a little smaller than Shell, it's probably the same size, it's just the Shell's longer, it's.
okay. We'll look into that. So,
That's one of our early voting, that's one of our
yeah, election.
polling places.
It is, yeah. I'm just trying to think of facilities on the north end before I retired as to what may be available for that size.
Yeah, it would be nice to have something close to Route 50, just so
Yeah.
people don't have to go down back roads to get to be a little easier to find, but at this point, we need to find something, yeah.
Yeah, and they
Um,
decided we couldn't come to
there-
Newark, right?
No, Newark is
Too
too
far
far
out.
away.
This is a shot in the dark, but some of the buildings there at 50 and 346 that are the medical buildings that aren't full.
Mhm.
And also the new building out on the 589 that has built that's not full. Some of those areas in those buildings, yeah, it's HGH medical facility. It's before you get to the North Gate or
Right.
straight past.
Is that
Ocean Ave.
346?
No, that's Route 589.
Right.
Yeah,
When
but
you-
346 is like the Barrett building, the other one.
Oh, right, Headway Drive, right there, right
All
there.
those
by the
buildings
stop.
aren't full.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can look into those also.
And I don't believe that the health department's facility there next to AGH would be large enough, plus the parking would be atrocious.
And getting in and out of it.
Yeah.
Phew.
But I'm just looking at facilities that have large enough space.
And it would be nice, it's probably not gonna happen, that we could find a facility we could use every year. But,
This-
like if we're renting, a space, like
Yeah.
an outlet or something, we're probably gonna be changing every 2 years,
I think that's what's so disappointing, like you said,
Yeah.
where we went, how many years ago, and you give them all the dates.
Pat, is there any way to develop the minimum amount of space that you would need? Then you compile from there and also look at accessibility, both in parking and handicap accessibility.
Yeah, we always do the accessibility survey.
I'm just saying, is there a
and
way, like, what is
maybe
the
Tehran could
what is
figure
the
out like a
minimum
minimum.
square
space
foot that you would
requirement?
need?
Early
not
voting.
Well, you would have to accommodate the machines and the personnel.
Right,
But you would also have to have the influx of the population going
Voters.
in to make sure that the occupancy accommodated.
right.
So people wouldn't be standing outside in the elements or exposed to other issues.
Yeah, I don't know if you have that already or if it's something we can develop. You have it, yeah. and we can go from there.
Yeah, if it doesn't pass the survey test, we can't use it. So
Because at one
whatever.
point, you went to Gulf Creek, which you can't now, but you know,
Yeah,
so the facility
without
of the size that you need, what I was asking.
Yeah.
What's the minimum size?
Do you know off the top of your head?
No, it doesn't say like, it's gotta be the X, Y square footage or.
Look, you would
something
know
like that.
for on the equipment you were taking. And then
Yeah,
you,
well,
and then you add the personnel in, and
We've
you gotta
actually-
accommodate the people coming to vote.
Yeah, but we've actually had a conversation about that. It's like, for example, at, the convention center, we might use anywhere from 3 to 5 scanners,
Right.
4 B&Bs and 40 booths or whatever.
Yeah.
We've already made the decision that, we would have to make an adjustment. So that's the thing, like in terms of the equipment that we send, it's flexible on that. There is like a limit on equipment, but we always exceed those limits by a long shot. So
We don't like-
yeah. So we got room to bring it down. So as long as we can get, at least the bare minimums of equipment in, it'll be good. Now, in terms of bare minimums of equipment, I don't know it right off the top, but I know it's like, we got plenty of leeway to go on that. Now, I'll give you an example of a place I think is actually too small. Cause I looked at it or I tried to map it out or something. I was like, I think it was a library in Berlin or Ocean City. One of those, I was looking at libraries for alternative places, and I was like, my goodness, this place is small. So there are some spaces that probably won't work. But look at them.
The reason why I was asking about is there one location, is that inevitably somebody's gonna tell me from the south end, why do we have to go to Ocean City for early voting? And we hear that all the time, but the population is a lot smaller, and I didn't realize that you had that requirement to be 10 miles. So I learned something this morning. So if you went with a 2-location thing, using this facility for the south end, it's gonna be very limited on the amount of people you would need and the amount of people that will come in and out. And the majority of the population of the north end would be going to whatever location we have for the primary.
Right.
Using the general, maybe when you had early voting, regardless of where it was, you would be able to hand, instead of mail the card, you'd be able to pass something out to say, next time you vote, you won't be at this facility, you'll be back in, if you're coming for early voting or general, you'll be back in Ocean City.
Right.
So,
But you wouldn't hit any unaffiliated, and then you wouldn't believe the number of people that don't vote in the primary.
Yep.
Just vote in the
yeah,
general.
yeah.
That's a good idea, but I don't,
Yeah.
I think by law, we have to send in cards.
We do.
By
Yeah,
law, we
anytime
have
a
to
polling place changes.
Changes.
Okay. But ultimately, you still need a voting location for Ocean City
Yes.
in Ocean City, and it's not available. So you still have to have something
Yes.
within 10 miles of Ocean City.
On the island.
Has to
Or
be
do you have
in,
to actually have something in Ocean City?
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
one of Ocean City.
because that's their polling place.
That's their precinct.
That's their precinct. You have to.
So
have
you
it.
could have you could just have a smaller
Yes.
facility just for Ocean City as a polling place,
Mhm.
like you do one of the outskirts.
Yeah.
Right.
Firehouse or school. But I think that as close as we are to that time period, the way that you would have to communicate with these locations, and if you had to go to, like, say, a hotel or motel, you'd have to enter into a contract, and that definitely would be an expense.
Oh, yeah.
I think that, you probably, and I know you probably had a conversation with Wesley, and maybe draft this a short letter and just say, hey, please advise the commissioners of this, we're having an issue. And, I wouldn't put in there that you would, we may be looking at additional expenses. That's too premature, but you would want to let them know that we're having an issue.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
did talk to Commissioner Matresic.
I was going to say, because that, then he would say something to, Commissioner Tressick, who would know locations in Ocean City. I mean, whether he built them or whether he's familiar with the other locations that could potentially hold something
Right.
of that scale. That's why I was asking the minimum square foot of just one location, or it's just 2 locations, for a south end.
I guess the commissioners couldn't do any pressure.
Well, they would have to fund from a standpoint of the
I know.
other location.
Yes.
So there is pressure.
They're gonna have to fund early voting, and that's not in our,
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
there is pressure. I mean,
I don't know.
they have an obligation to,
Yeah, it's going to push us over budget.
yes.
At the end of the day.
That's why I said a note, a letter, informing them that we currently have exhausted all locations at the Ocean City Convention Center. we're open to suggestions should, the commissioners or you have some idea. And if we don't find a location, here's our options we're looking at. And I don't know if I would put in the letter that it's gonna be more expensive now, but I don't know how you word that to say that,
But there will be a cost. Good possibility.
Yeah.
Possibility,
There will be a
yeah.
cost.
I mean, because if you really think about that, this being October, you're a year away from more or less from the general and, less than that, 8 months,
8
7
months
months,
away.
yeah, from the primary. And, if we don't meet again until January, then we're behind on the situation finding, especially if you need, approval. from
Yeah, I'm
us.
hoping we'll have something in place. by January. That's the goal on that. But, if you think of anything else, let us know because we'll look into all possibilities.
So you haven't called any of the fire departments or Board of Education or any of their locations?
No, not the Board of Ed because the school, the dates of early voting are right like the last week of school. So they're not going to be available.
I'm just thinking of one of the, within 10 miles, one of the schools that wouldn't have a graduation associated with using, the auditorium or gymnasium or whatever they're going to be in the school.
But then the school would be open.
The way my mind works is that you're really scrambling now for a location.
Right.
Yeah, 8 months out, 8 months out. Yeah. Pardon?
It's tight.
It is,
Yeah.
and knowing how certain things go, we get that, you would have to do that. I mean, I could give you some contacts at the fire department when the meeting's over today. And,
Okay, yeah.
3 of those facilities I mentioned will probably be large enough for both. I don't know if they would be available,
Okay.
because they rent too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you can give me those contacts, we'll work on
The
it.
firehouse in Berlin would be large enough. The problem is accessibility. The elevator is limited on space, and then the stairs to walk up, it's very steep. Yes. Today it wouldn't be able to be built like that, but it is. It's a walk up.
Now Bishop goes on the same floor.
Yeah, Bishopville and Shaw are ground level. And you can just walk in, walk out. As far as accessibility, you just have to have parking to get the people that needed the handicap spots in. But it's all ground level. They don't have to go up, they don't have to go down. So I just think that, I've changed that to probably in Scranton, but
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Because when was it you sent the email telling us that?
It was the end of August,
Yeah.
September, the beginning of September, which they waited. Tron had to send several reminders, please return the contract. And then that's when we were finally told that,
well, I mean, if there's a location that has to be obtained outside of Ocean City, it's in the Berlin Ocean Heights area, wherever. And then people from Ocean City or wherever they complain, and it's just fact that the convention center that's run by the town said no, and we gave dates 2 years in advance. That doesn't give up any relief to anybody, but
Right.
it's that don't point fingers to you or us or the agency or the county or the state that
Right.
why do I have to come here?
Can we, if we can find something for the primary in Ocean City, which hopefully we can, but if not, can we get a waiver to have it outside of Ocean City?
we'd have to get permission from the
Right.
state board and we'd have to show, we went to so many
Yeah.
places and
And Ocean City residents are not gonna like that.
no, they're,
Is this just for the Ocean City polling place or for the whole early voting?
or it's two separate, the early voting
Yeah, right.
is one
Yeah.
thing, but
The
election
primary.
day, the primary, that would mean anyone on the island, if we couldn't find a spot, they may have to possibly go to West Ocean City or Berlin.
West Ocean City, I couldn't see them complaining, but the Berlin maybe so.
But logically, they would like us to keep it in their precinct, their district.
But the South End doesn't have it in their district, you hear complaints from the South
Because,
End.
well, there's not as many
I understand that.
facilities
Yeah.
in, on
Yeah.
the southern end. And we did have to get permission from the state and to prove why we had to go out of precinct for
I think a couple of those medical facilities that aren't full, I mean, I don't know that they're ready to be occupied, maybe like, with
They're
the actual
filling up,
building
though.
being done.
They're
As
filling
far as, sheet rock ceiling, air
Right.
conditioning, heating, whatever. I don't know that that's there, but
We can look into that.
Yeah. And the thing is with them, they're probably gonna want someone that's gonna be there all the time,
Yeah.
a contract. I mean, we can definitely check, but
someone on site just to make sure somebody's not doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But I will say, and you all know this, in past elections, when we contract with the convention center, they would put us in one room. And then as the election got closer, they'd move us farther and farther away because they get paying events coming in and we're free. So we get really the rotten locations and the voters would complain to us and we'd tell them to talk to the convention center because we're kind of at their mercy. They put us where they have an open spot.
But doing it 2 years in advance, if you had to pay the convention center, you'd be able to put money in the budget. And although it may not be approved, but you'd be able to have your spot that you actually requested from a contract. Instead of relying on something free, you get moved away and make, whether it's in the back, whether it's upstairs, all the way at the end of the wing.
Right.
What about Northside Park? Northside Park, have you guys looked into there at all? I mean, depending on what they have scheduled and things, you know, I mean, what they have multiple different gym areas.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good suggestion.
So, I mean, I know that, you know, October you're looking at, they probably have basketball going on with the kids, but most of that's going to be in the afternoon. So there might be a way that they can work around their schedule or section off one of the gymnasiums. 'Cause I think they have 2 or 3 there. It's been a long time since I've been there because this was when I was in middle school, but I'm assuming it hasn't changed that much. But, it's a good option. There's a lot of parking. It's all one level. So
Where is that located?
it's all the way uptown. So I think it's
It's,
100.
127th
Yeah.
Street.
Okay.
Where they do the light.
Yeah, where they do the lights up there as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah. But it's definitely convenient with the parking, accessibility, all of that too. And I mean, even if you got one of those large gyms, if we were able to do that, I think it would be enough space
Okay.
for what we needed, because I think it's multiple courts in each one of those gyms.
Are you thinking for early voting too, or just election day?
I mean, I think it's gonna be dependent on what they have scheduled there at this point. I mean, I think the only nice thing is when you get closer to the summer months, most of their activities are probably gonna be outside. So it might be more of a chance of being able to find, you know, the indoor space that you're gonna get in October, but there's no harm in trying.
No.
Right. Now, is that, run by the town of Ocean City?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I have no idea, but,
We'll look
Or it's
into
a
it and
county.
find out.
yeah.
I wonder if
It's
it's
not
county.
Parks and Rec, is it?
It's just-
Is it?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, it might be
Yes,
county.
county.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, it's a good option, or even reaching out to some local business owners. I just can't imagine that, you know, some local people wouldn't be willing to give over space if they have it in Ocean City for an event, even if it's, you know, they're not receiving money for it. It's worth thinking about, so.
That's like Gulf Creek. They never charged us because, people would come in and they give them a tour of it and they would sell
Yeah.
units, you know.
Golf courses even, I don't know if the one down 611, they have that big community center kind of thing. I don't know what they would call it, but those might be good to look into as well.
Where, Chris?
Right down 611, as you go towards South Point, there's the golf course over there. I don't know
There's
if that,
2 of them.
yeah,
One's run by the town of Ocean City.
Ocean City Golf and,
Pass it,
the one on the other side, the
yeah, the
left
name
side.
escapes me now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the weather, I don't know many people that are going out golfing in the middle of October, and it could be snowing here, it could be sunny and 80, but it really depends, but it's worth about.
It's worth a shot. Yeah,
And
anything's
you were
worth a
talking
shot.
malls, Patty, when she mentioned at Ocean City. I don't know if the Gold Coast Mall is full, but you know, they may have a location that's large enough.
Right,
Summertime, it would be bad. Fall,
that's true. Well, we'll look into these and, I'll send a report. Sweet.
In the worst case scenario, if we had to do primaries somewhere and keep Ocean City for the general, I mean, that, they've already said that we have that,
Right,
even though we'd like it to be the same as the primary, but at least
right,
we have something to fall back on for the general.
right.
Wonderful.
Okay, we'll get to work on that. The next thing I have is a new item. State has developed a funeral home program where they're going to give brochures to, they've sent the brochures to the state funeral director, and he's supposedly going to distribute them to funeral homes, notifying the family of a loved one who may have passed that they were to contact the Board of Elections to cancel the person's voter registration. It's not mandatory they do it, but it's just like a reminder that they can do it. It's going to all Maryland funeral homes, and normally when someone dies, we receive reports from the health department in Maryland. So I don't know, we may work, we may catch some that we don't get. I don't know. It's they've just started doing this.
So it's still not gonna handle out-of-state pets.
No, that's why it's out of state. Okay, is there any other items to discuss before we go to our guest speakers? No. Okay, I have Vince Israel and Dennis Evans. So whoever wants to go first. And we even got a podium for you this time. See, you're official.
Wait, I'm falling off from this. I'm board president, members of the board, and staff. Vince Israel, Ocean City, Maryland. I'm here today to talk about voter lists generally, prompted somewhat by a letter from the Department of Justice to the State Board of Elections, specifically from the Civil Rights Division, where they asked for, quote, to provide a description of the steps that you have taken and when those steps are taken to ensure that the state's list maintenance program has been properly carried out in full compliance with the National Voter Registration Act. And that act requires each state, the District of Columbia, to make available for inspection, quote, from the act, all records concerning the implementation of programs and activities conducted for the purpose of ensuring the accuracy and currency of official lists of eligible voters. In that letter, dated July 14th, the DOJ specifically points out, for example, in 2024, 95.9% of citizen voting age population were on our voting list. In 2020, it was 96%. In 2022, it was 93.9%. We addressed this somewhat at a previous meeting, the fact that our census has nearly all the people in our census are on the roll. Not quite. It also raised the question that there have been over 6.4 million registration transactions processed in one of the recent election assistant commission of election administration voting surveys, while Maryland only had 4.2 million registered at the time. It goes on to point out, for example, concerns about the state board's match of voting records to state death records were not as comprehensive as necessary to identify certain potentially deceased voters. And it raises other issues regarding deceased voters. Now, the SBE State Board responded July 30th, but most of their response dealt with procedural issues and never really addressed most of the questions raised in the DOJ letter. Interestingly, the author wrote, the administrator wrote, the right to vote is a sacred right that has been expanded through sacrifices of many before us. That's true. And that was reminiscent 35 years ago when I was debating the Ocean City Board of Elections, when they were not saying we fell short of the required percentage. And I showed them evidence of deceased on the rolls, move-aways, clear convincing evidence. I would hear things like, people fought and died wars for the right to vote. People fought and died wars for the right to have fair and honest elections. SBE continued more pushback in a letter dated August 13th, where they requested the department state whether the voter registration list, the DOJ, will be used in any investigative actions for potential violations of federal law. Specifically, whether the voter registration list will be used for enforcement of immigration laws against Maryland residents. The voter registration list may not be used in a manner that intimidates a voter from going to the polls, results in or has the intent to result in the denial or abridgment of the right of a Maryland citizen to vote or causes a qualified voter to be stricken from voter registration. And I pose the question, what if the voter is not qualified for this? In response to another letter back from the DOJ, they cite a footnote. Quote, in charging the Attorney General with enforcement of the voter registration list requirements of HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, and the NAVRA, which is the National Voter Registration Act, Congress plainly intended that DOJ be able to conduct an independent review of each state's list. Any statewide prohibitions are clearly preempted by federal law. It goes on. There's a second letter, actually a third letter from the State Board with more pushback, and that occurred on August 25th, which prompted the Maryland House Republican Caucus, under their leadership, to send a letter to the State Board saying, and I quote, we are particularly concerned instead of providing data to the DOJ as requested, you merely provided instructions for access and then requested justification that was used to deny the request. Is that my time?
It is.
I thank you for your time. I have copies of these letters back and forth for each board member, the attorneys, and staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
I'll
And
put
then
my hand
Dennis,
over this.
I'm gonna get your Band-Aid.
Okay.
Dennis, did you?
This is, that's the.
Okay. I'm gonna get a Band-Aid. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To that. Is that one on?
And the middle fire?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
They want to know if it could be moved so that they could hear better. Or do you want me to just cut it off?
It's got a pipe on it that sends the water out the wall.
Oh, it comes out of the wall. Okay. They want to just leave it on.
I mean,
What is that company?
Is the air on?
Is it different?
that's off.
The air's off.
We're almost done.
So it's not coming from there.
Maybe one of them fans.
Okay, Dennis.
How's that? Or is
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I have too many powers. This is very, short, I'm not gonna take a lot of time here, just more or less address Patty Jackson. It's coming from our director, for, secure the vote, Kate Sullivan. She asked if you can supply us with a, a list of the party breakdown of your election judges in terms of Republicans and Democrats. Now, we haven't received that yet. Maybe it got lost in the mail or whatever, but, I'm sure you always respond. But they would just like to receive that. By the way, we're not, Secure the Vote and other organizations are not an enemy here. We're working together for our republic. We're all American citizens. And you got to admit there's been a lot of craziness that's gone on. We want to clean it up. And we're getting involved with another way of looking for dead people on the that are still eligible to vote. We want to clean up the vote. And we're doing a pretty good job of it with the help of Judicial Watch nationwide. And a couple of years ago, last minute, the state decided to say that if we access the voter rolls, we're in some kind of contempt or something, and we could get into a lot of trouble. Well, secure the vote through Kate Sullivan drew up a lawsuit, and we won that lawsuit. And it's okay for us to access the voter rolls if we're just looking for problems. And that helps everybody. It's not a partisan thing. That's the thing. It's not us against them. It's us against what's not right. And so I just want to let you know that these requests are not gotcha requests. Like we're trying to find a way to nail you. We're just trying to clean things up and united will stand with it. And we did get a write-up in the Journal of Judicial Watch that goes out national. And Kate Sullivan's name was mentioned about winning a lawsuit. And Tom Fitton, who's the head of Judicial Watch, was on a program, and he actually cited us and said, "Great victory." Well, where the state came up with this rule, this law out of nowhere, that you can be held responsible if you access the voter roll to clean them up. What kind of democracy is that? Well, anyway, we won that, and that was good. But we're together. So when you get letters of Kate Sullivan or Jolene McShane requesting something, it's just that we're trying to compile things and bring the other counties in the state in line with what's supposed to be done. It's all law. That's about it. That's all I really have to say.
Can I respond to that? I did get her PIA. But she asked for election judge names and parties. And I told her that was a personnel issue. I don't mind giving her the numbers. I just don't want to put my judges' names to it because I'm afraid they'll resign.
Well, she cited here that the other counties have given numbers with redacted names.
Mhm.
And I saw in the email here, you said, attached to your PIA request, thank you. So I'm thinking maybe some communication got broken down. Maybe we can do it again without the names.
Yes,
We just need.
She did.
Down to Republicans.
yes, she did email me again and ask if I can just give the numbers, and I will do that. I just had a problem releasing personnel.
Sure, yeah, we don't
issues.
request that. We don't
Yes.
expect that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Is there any other items to discuss? No, I don't think so. Okay. We need a motion to adjourn. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. That's it. We thank you for attending. We're now going to go into a closed meeting to discuss personnel issues.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Yeah. Jeff is on the ball
I
today.
tell you what.